Bonjour, good morning. It is Wednesday the 23rd of September 2020. I am on site extremely early because I want to try and get the most out of each day that I've got off. A very miserable drive to work, wet, cold. Quite nice actually for working conditions, especially when you're inside. Right, so continuing on from that last video, we will get this wall plasterboarded, so let's get some boarding and let's crack on. Right, I'm just setting up ready to fit this door now. In that last video that you watched, I fitted the door over in the guest bedroom, and I was saying to Roy about it. I said sometimes what happens is when I'm filming is you know, do what I'm doing, but what you won't know is it's actually gone horribly wrong or I'm having issues, so I will pretend that it's all gone right so it's just sort of in position, and then I'll cut the video. And yesterday was a good example where I put the door in place, hooked it up onto the stud, which in itself on my own can be quite awkward if the studs are moving about. And I just couldn't get it to sit on the packers and hold it onto the studs all at the same time, because obviously working on my own, sometimes you just need that, you know, other pair of hands just to hold something in place. And I was telling him, honest, I was having an absolute nightmare. But on the video, it literally looks like me. I just put the door in place and then I walk away, and then you come back and it's all fitted. But it actually took me ages to sort it out. So I'm actually hoping for a bit more luck on this one this morning. The problem is I've got to hold it in place, slide the studs in together at the same time, but also have it on packers, because I know I've got a 17mm build-up to allow the door to open smoothly across the laminate. Obviously I need packers to, you know, make that happen. But having packers underneath the door whilst you're trying to slide the studs in and move everything in position on your own is actually really hard work. So I thought I'd share that with you, that it is a little bit of movie magic as always. A lot of the time what you see is not what actually happened. Right, let's get this in place. Right, I'm hoping, because this is a slightly easier one to do just because I've got a bit more access around the frame, I'm hoping I can just lift it straight onto the packers and then slide the studs in, fingers crossed. That was live action, nothing went wrong. Happy days. So it's literally going to be the same as the other door, which in the last video, so got the exact same issue again, funnily enough. Bit of a gap up there, which just means this stud needs pushing along. There you go, see? So we'll come back when that's all done. Ta 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 ta. There you go. All works nice, just how it should. Right, I have no idea what I'm going to do next. I've just got to go and have a meeting with someone. I'll get the door open. I think I might come in here and start putting the false ceiling up with the ceiling tray. So I think that's what's going to happen next. Right, I have decided I'm going to start in here and do this ceiling tray with the LED uplighter feature. I've never done this before, ever. I've seen it loads of times. It's a feature that I really, really like. I want it. Literally, it's me that wants it, so I'm having it. I just think it'd be really nice in every single room. It just means that when you're in bed at night time watching TV or just chilling, that you have this nice soothing uplight. Obviously, it's got a multitude of colours. For Skye, it'd be good fun because obviously it can rotate through the colours and that. And I just think it looks really classy, in my humble opinion. Basically, for no reason whatsoever, I've chosen the height of 2.5 metres because a lot of stuff comes in France at 2.5 metres. So if I set it just over 2.5 for the finish, it means when we go to build, for example, the built-in wardrobes, the wood that we buy will fit in with no cuts. That's the plan anyway. Whether that works or not doesn't even matter, but we can always hope. The first thing I'm going to do is ping a line with my laser the whole way around, and then I'll be using the track to build the lower tray. I'm pretty much going to be making it up as I go. I have been building it in my head loads of different ways, so as it develops I might change my plans, I might not, so less waffling, more working. Right, what I've done is I've allowed a 20mm build-up of the floor, which is actually only 17mm, 12mm laminate and 5mm fibreboard, plus an extra 5mm on top, just so if we do get boards that are 2.5, there's a few mil tolerance. So the first thing to do is set a track around the whole perimeter. So I will do that now. Got to allow for the plasterboard as well. Right, that's the first stage of doing the ceiling. The next thing I've got to do is put some more track now on the ceiling at the width that we want to create. So I think I'm going to be coming out around 0.5 metre around to here. I'm just going to play around with it for a little while and see what sort of depth I'm going to be happy with, because obviously we don't want it to enclose the room too much. I might even divide the room up and section it so it works out equally, because I'm quite a fan of that. So I'll come back once I've made a decision. Right, after a little bit of thinking, I decided on 600 for the width. Predominantly that means when I cut a board lengthways, 2 halves, 600, so there's going to be a minimal amount of waste. I want about 150mm recessed back. So with the 600 that allows 450, which in itself is plenty. So this is what I've done. So after putting that perimeter up, I've put one stud along there at 600, one stud along there at 600, and annoyingly the track is 3 meters. From there to there was 308. So I've literally just connected another piece on with a bit of track and rail inside each other, and then to connect it to the stud, just a tiny offcut. Same on the other side. So now what I'll do is I'll replicate that on the other side, infill that, so that's all sorted. Then I'll infill that just to give it a bit of rigidity, and then we're ready to build our upstanding return up to the ceiling, which I'll talk about in a bit. Also, what will happen is not a great deal of weight. You know, that would in theory bear the weight, because obviously because it's over a span, a sheet's no more than 35 kilos or 40 kilos, so it's not that much of a weight over that area. But what I will be doing is I will be putting braces up into the ceiling to tie it all in, just to take the flex out. I certainly wouldn't want anybody hanging off of it, but then again, as you can see, being 6'1", you know, not many people are going to be able to jump up that high anyway to try it out. But I will brace it anyway. Right, I'll come back once I've just finished all that. I've just put the crossbars. I had some furore left over, like the ceiling rail. So rather than waste the stud work and that, I thought I'd use that up, make good use of it. Initially, earlier in the video, I said I'd set it back 150. Once I pinged the laser up and had a look, I wasn't happy. So I've now done it at 200, which just gives it a slightly deeper shelf. The main reason for that is I think when you're looking from here, there was a chance of maybe possibly seeing the LED light strip, whereas obviously we want that out of sight. So I've just put it back that little bit further. Right, I've now just got to put a track top and bottom, and then we connect all that up. So I'll film it. What I'll be doing later, I probably won't actually film it, is I go up there afterwards, and where I've spiked the screws up like that, I'll put a bit of wood between it, and then I'll screw up and through, which will clamp it between the plasterboard and the wood and the metal, which will create a really good solid fixing. But just for now, just to hold it in place so I can do everything else, I'll just do that. The metal screws aren't holding it together as well as I would have hoped, so I think what I'm going to do is get some chocks of wood, put them on top, and then that way I'll use some wood screws and that'll clamp it all together. I need those two bits of metal to be nice and tight together, so when I frame that out up there and screw it all together, it's all tight, whereas it's not doing it. Basically the issue is I need some longer versions of the wafer screws, but I've only got 13mm, which isn't long enough. So I'm happy there, it's all going well. Right, I've now framed out the upstand going up on both sides. I'm now doing the bit along the back. It probably looks quite complicated, maybe complex as I'm doing it, but it all come together and it all makes sense once I start to plasterboard it and stuff. It's the end of the day now, so we'll just continue the video tomorrow where I just keep on building it. Nice cold, wet, dark start to the day. Basically I'm getting here as early as I can to maximise my day. I think we're going to need some light in here this morning. Right, I'll get all set up and then we will carry on with this suspended ceiling. Okay, that's me all set up, so I will be infilling the stud work along there, and then I will be building the same frame opposite. So let's come back when that is done. Okay, that's that side now done. If you still can't work out what the hell is going on, you're in the same boat as me. Right, so basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plasterboard the upstands. That'll make it look a little bit more like you should know what's happening. So I'll do them the whole way around first, and then I've got to frame out, because the thickness of this shelf at the moment, obviously it's, you know, the track, which is 50 mil. Well, I want it a bit deeper than that. I think I want it around 100 or so, which means building it up again, which means I've got to build a boxing off of that wall across and then down. So I will make those words sound logical once you see the picture of it, or the video of it, as is the case. Right, let's say hi, Steve. Okay, that's the laser put round. I'll now apply the track around that perimeter. Right, that is the shelf work all completed with the metal. To fix this down, little notches so you can get the screws down easier, because trying to screw in an angle is an absolute nightmare. So there's a little tip for you. Not that I expect many of you will ever be doing this. Because metal is nowhere near like wood, one of the things we have to be careful of is when we screw it, can you see the amount of flex in that? So basically when we put this board across, we'll make sure that's nice and plumb by doing that, and then we fix down. So it'll be a case of holding it in position and screwing it. I'm used to this sort of thing, so I'm aware of it, but it is easy to obviously make it, you know, not as good as it could be, because there's a good 5 to 10 mil of flex in that. Right, I will now plasterboard it, and then it will all look a lot better. I won't be plasterboarding the underside purely because we've got cables to run, because the chances are we'll have spotlights running down either side, maybe some spotlights in the middle, still undecided. So until we have made up our mind, we'll leave it open. Right, let's come back when this is all plasterboarded. That is the that is the ceiling shelf, all completed, apart from the underside, which I told you earlier why that's been left. Really pleased with the way that turned out. Obviously I always assess myself, because it's important to assess yourself. The only thing I would change differently is I used the furore up. In hindsight, it would have been better to have done that with stud, purely because as it come over to this point, I had to just mess around a little bit, because obviously different depths, not a big deal at all, like it was no big deal, but in the next room I will definitely put stud along that way, but I can still use up the offcuts that I've still got of the furore, because the upstand bit, I can use it there instead. So it's just about saving money. Like, you know, you might save a few quid here and a few quid there, but I've always said this, you save a quid there and a quid there, end of the year you've got 365 of them. So, you know, it is always worth looking after the pennies. I'm not that tight, honest. Right, let's go in the other room. I'm going to start in there, and I think I'm also going to make a video on how to make a ceiling shelf using metal stud partition. The reason I like to do the how-to videos is it's quite a good way to generate traffic to the channel. I'm not really in it for the money, otherwise I'd have my AdSense all going. I've got over 300,000 views, which potentially could be worth like £3 in revenue if I'd have put AdSense on it. But, you know, the more traffic I get, the better for the channel, and then maybe potentially, you know, I could end up getting gear from Makita or Hilti. If you're watching. I know you're not, but... Right, let's go in the other room.